Again, humanity and hope after the genocide in Rwanda. Hello everyone. My name is Storyteller Thomas, and I come to you today not just as a foreigner, but as a friend of Rwanda, a student of its history, and a deep admirer of its strength. There is something about this country that touches you once you truly look closely: its scars, its courage, its silence, and its song. We are in the 31st commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi. It is not simply an anniversary. It is a reminder, a responsibility, and a moment to reconnect with our humanity. The theme I want to share with you is Born Again, Humanity and Hope After the Genocide in Rwanda. Let's begin with truth. In 1994, between April and July, over 1 million Tutsi were brutally killed.
ID, so I will hide in front of people. But there's a lady who was walking, hiding, and she had a baby. And she had her ID, and she was just shown her ID, and they just cut her head off. She had a baby. I can't tell how old she was, but was so young because she was still feeding her. And walking, seeing this woman being killed, and seeing the child sucking from its mother when it's dead, I was devastated. I could not pick her up. I wanted to, but I was so afraid to run around with this baby. And
not by strangers, not by bombs from the sky, but by neighbors, by machetes, by radio. Entire families were wiped out. Children, mothers, elders, all erased. This was not spontaneous. It was planned. It was taught. It was broadcast. The world watched and did nothing.
The look on her face is shock. I just remember vividly, like, her face being in shock. And then we heard another sound, and then we were both, scared. And then we realized my brother also survived, but he had injuries. His hand was almost cut off. His shoulder had a wound from, I think, a spear. And then my cousins, two of my cousins also survived, but survived with really bad head injuries. He was cut so many places in the head that eventually he died from his wounds. But while we were there, his sister also was there. She had the machete cut her through her face like that, and she also had injuries on her head.
Rwanda was abandoned. But the people who suffered, the people who survived, would not be defined by victimhood forever. The power of survival, humanity in the ashes. There's something almost divine about survival. After genocide, Rwanda could have collapsed forever. But something powerful happened. The people who survived made a decision. A decision to rebuild. A decision to forgive. A decision to never let hatred define their future. I remember one genocide survivor who said to me, "They killed my family. But I will not let hate be the only thing that survives." That is not weakness. That is strength. Another woman told me, "I started a sewing workshop with women who had lost everything, because I believed if we made clothes for others, we could restitch our broken souls." These are not just survivors. These are builders. These are healers. These are leaders. The Rwanda of today, beauty rebuilt. Fast forward to today. When you walk through Kigali, you see a clean, safe, organized city. But beneath the streets is something more powerful, a soul that has been reshaped. There's a national culture of unity. A generation that says, "I am Rwandan," before anything else. There are women in parliament, young leaders with vision, artists with a message of peace. Rwanda today is not perfect, but it is rising, and that, in itself, is a miracle. I ask myself, how did this happen? The answer is choice. Rwanda chose a new story. A message to the world, what we can learn from Rwanda. You don't have to be Rwandan to be inspired by Rwanda. In fact, the whole world should stop and ask, how did a people so broken become so strong? The answer is painful. It involves truth-telling, justice, forgiveness, and memory. But most of all, it involves people. Ordinary people who did extraordinary things. Let's not just remember Rwanda for what happened in 1994. Let's remember Rwanda for what it became in 2025. In a world full of division, Rwanda is a light. Where others build walls, Rwanda builds dialogue. Where others hold grudges, Rwanda holds hands. Call to action, to youth, to Africa, to the world. To the youth of Rwanda. This history belongs to you now. You didn't live the genocide, but you live its consequences. Carry the memory with pride. Protect the truth. Reject any idea that seeks to divide. Speak boldly, love deeply, build bravely. To Africa. Look to Rwanda. Learn from her pain. Celebrate her strength. African unity must be built on truth and healing. To the world. Never again must be more than a slogan. It must be a daily commitment. It must begin with how we treat one another, how we teach our children, how we remember history. Light after the storm. Rwanda was once the darkest place on earth. But today, it is a testimony. It teaches us that forgiveness is stronger than revenge, that dignity can rise from dust, that love is more powerful than hate. To all Rwandans, you are not just survivors, you are symbols of hope. The world needs to hear your story, over and over again. May we all learn to be born again, as Rwanda was. Thank you. Never again.